Hey everybody, welcome back to Understanding Anxiety with Trace. So this is the final video of the course, and for those of you who have followed along or made it this far, I do want to say, first off, thank you for watching it. I hope that you have learned something. I hope that you've been able to apply a lot of these things, and ultimately, congratulations for whatever effort that you have made, whatever progress that you have made. I'm happy for you in that sense. Um, so this is the final, the life work, I'm going to call it. Originally the first three modules, that was homework, things that we had to do in order to make it to the next phase. But this is the last portion that you'll need in order to continue with this for as long as you need it. That's why I call it life work instead of homework. And another concept is, there is no finish line. I think I mentioned this a couple times before, where the idea of completely getting rid of the anxiety, I don't think it's beneficial. I won't say that I don't think it's possible. I do think that it is possible, but I don't think that that should necessarily be the goal. But ultimately, the point is that we should not be focused on the finish line. There is no finish line. Even if I have gone to the point where I'm not worried about any of my triggers, I'm able to go into any experience and make it through it without a problem. I don't think that anxiety is ever really going to go away 100%. It's like a memory, if you will. These things are always going to be with us, and if we've done the work previously, we know that that's going to be okay, right? If we're making progress, if we've done the willful induction of the triggers, that final part, we know that it's okay that there's no finish line. We do have to maintain that concept, though, and so that's why this is, again, life work. This is something that we can do for the rest of our lives, for as long as we need it, when we need it, if that's the case. But ultimately, now that we're at this point, this is kind of the essence of the word understanding. When we first start out with the anxiety, we may have no idea what's going on. We may not even realize that it's a panic attack until we've kind of had one a couple times and start to do some research. We may not have any understanding of why we're getting triggered, why it's in our lives. And ultimately, through this course, my goal here is to help you understand anxiety. And there's a difference between understanding and knowing. I don't necessarily mean to know your triggers, to know what to do, to know what patterns to change, but to actually understand at a fundamental level what the anxiety is, how to work with it, how it's a part of you, what you can do in order to make progress and change with it. And so you have to have a complete understanding in order for true progress to be made, true lasting progress to be made. Because again, I don't want this course to be a band-aid. There's nothing wrong with band-aids, they're needed, but that's not the purpose of this. So the last little document that I have for you guys to download is called the Building Trust Worksheet. And this is something that you can make as many copies of if you want. Or if you just kind of want to look it over once and kind of keep a thing going in your head, or if you have a journal, these are all fine. This is just kind of a template for you guys. But ultimately, this is pretty much what the building worksheet looks like. And the question at the top is, what situation can you face together? So in the left column, we have circumstance. Could be whatever is happening. Let's say that your friends invite you out to a beach party, and excuse me. Let's say your friends invite you out to a beach party, and they want to get drunk, they want to have a good time, they want to camp out, and that's all fine and dandy, and those are great things to be able to socialize. But let's say, for instance, that camping out at the beach in whatever way is a trigger for you. It's not my trigger, could be your trigger, could be nobody's trigger. But for the sake of argument, that's what's going on, right? So the circumstance would be, I'm out at the beach, I'm staying the night over there with some friends, and that's the circumstance. And the trigger could be like, I'm triggered because I'm afraid that somebody's going to come up and steal my car, right? Or maybe you're afraid that the wind is going to rip your tent away, or that the water is going to come up into your tent, and we're not trying to ridicule these. They're very viable triggers that can happen to anybody. So we want to say, okay, this was the circumstance, this was the trigger that I experienced, and you can put down, like, if you've done your needs worksheet, if you've done your trigger worksheet, you would know, like, okay, that's the related needs, that's the related core beliefs. This is the core concept that we're dealing with here. And then if we have the how is it handled? How did you actually go through with that experience? And so if we're following along with the rest of this module, we say, okay, if we're willfully inducing these triggers, let's say you knew that this was going to be triggering. You say, you know what, I'm going to enjoy myself, and then when the time comes for me to be presented with this trigger, I'm going to work with it. I'm going to face it, right? So then this is where you would put down, what's going on, how you handled it, what you did, what practices were in effect, what the overall outcome was, how you felt afterward. Do you feel like you made progress? Do you feel like you have a better understanding of what's going on with your anxiety? And all these things are very important. And this is, moreover, it's just kind of a logbook. We're trying to, every time we willfully induce a trigger or even unknowingly induce a trigger, we want to try to write this stuff down, or at least keep some type of track of it, whether that's mental or, journal, whatever. But the point is that we're trying to build trust, because we want to, with that union with our anxiety, we want to say, okay, here is our actual written track record of how we've handled this. This is our written track record. We can keep track of our progress. We can say, when we first experienced this trigger, it was a total wreck. And, through us working together, now that we've started to talk to each other, now that we've got the right attitudes and are changing practices and patterns, look at each individual time that we've faced this trigger. We've gotten more adept at dealing with it. We've gotten better practices and better skills as far as how to face this experience and to be okay with it. And the point of this is that we're trying to build a trust worksheet to say, when anxiety is triggered, we say, hey, I hear what you're saying. I totally understand where you're coming from. But hey, we've got this track record of, look at how many times we've made it through this. Look at how many times we've actually been spurred to growth from this. Look at how much changes we've made from this. And so that's the entire concept of this, is that when you're dealing with the ego, when you're dealing with the anxiety, what's going to overcome that is trust. Because to a certain degree or another, the anxiety itself is talking to you because it doesn't trust you to make the right decision. Whether that's based in reality or not, whether you've been making the right decision or not is irrelevant. The point is that you want to show it that it can trust you, and vice versa, that you can trust it. And so that's the whole purpose of this, is we want a tangible record so that our memories don't get confused, so that we don't start mixing things up or possibly painting things in a different light based on our emotional or mental state, but that we have a tangible written record that says, here's proof that we can trust each other. Here's proof that we've made it through this before and we can make it through it again. So I hope that you guys are able to get use from this worksheet. Like I said, it's something you can print off as many times as you want or till you feel comfortable. And this ultimately concludes the course that I've had laid out. I'll say this again, if at any point in this course you have a specific circumstance that you're not really sure how to apply some of these concepts, send me a message. It'll be completely private. I'm not going to share any of your stuff. I have no desire to do so. I've got no judgment. But in any case, I hope that you guys were able to learn from this. I hope that you were able to, if nothing else, if it is just a band-aid for you, then I'm glad for that. But hopefully you're able to change some patterns and to make real progress with this course. Like I said, leave a comment. Send me a message. And if you guys need anything from me, just let me know. And as far as that goes, I'll still be posting videos. So I'll see you then.